So, as you might have heard recently, former Vice President Joe Biden and Donald Trump are currently in a pissing contest. They both think that they can beat up the other, and they are telling the world just how tough they are. Literally. This is American politics in 2018. So we'll get to what Joe Biden said, then I'll tell you what Donald Trump's response was, and then I'll tell you why this is problematic and what it says about both Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
When a guy who ended up becoming a national leader said, I can grab a woman anywhere and she likes it, and then said, I made a mistake. They asked me would I like to debate this gentleman. I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take you behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. I've been in a lot of locker rooms my whole life. I'm a pretty damn good athlete. Any guy who talked that way was usually the fattest, ugliest SOB in the room.
To give you more context, he was talking about the numerous women who have come out and alleged that Donald Trump has sexually assaulted them. And I get the anger. I'm angry that Donald Trump was able to become president, even though many women have come forward saying that this gigantic perv assaulted them. That's unacceptable. But Joe Biden is lowering himself to a high school level in order to discuss this when he should be talking about policy ramifications. Joe Biden could have called on Donald Trump to resign like Al Franken did. He could have done something more productive, but instead, he knew what he was getting himself into. He was trying to egg Donald Trump on and get a response via Twitter because Joe Biden wants to set up this rivalry between him and Donald Trump so that way when it comes time for 2020, we can see this play out. He's kind of giving us a snapshot of what's to come. But first of all, before I get to what Donald Trump said, I don't think Joe Biden should be an authority on anything related to women and creepy men because he's pretty creepy himself. Now, I'm not suggesting that he did what Donald Trump did. I'm not suggesting that he assaulted women, but certainly we've seen videos of Joe Biden clearly crossing the boundary, being too touchy-feely with people. That's not acceptable. I cringe at some of the videos about Joe Biden. So again, that may not be tantamount to assault, but certainly I think that he needs to do a little bit of self-reflection here and realize that he's kind of a creep himself. Now, this is what Donald Trump said about the situation. He tweeted out, "Crazy Joe Biden is trying to act like a tough guy. Actually, he is weak, both mentally and physically, and yet he threatens me, for the second time, with physical assault. He doesn't know me, but he would go down fast and hard, crying all the way. Don't threaten people, Joe." So, this is what American discourse has devolved into. Middle school level threats that are being lobbed against the president by the former vice president. Two people who will be running against each other in 2020. Now, hopefully Joe Biden doesn't become the Democratic Party nominee, but if he does, I think what he's trying to do is gin up support to show Americans that he's a tough guy, that he can take on Donald Trump, and that he's not afraid of Donald Trump. Now, why am I talking about this? Why is this important? Because it says a lot about Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I don't think that Joe Biden and Donald Trump care about anyone but themselves. This is about egos. Joe Biden isn't choosing to challenge Donald Trump because he cares about sexual assault. This is about bluffing. This is about their own egos. This is about them having a pissing contest. It's not about the American people. Because if you truly are either in office or going to run for office because you care about the American people, this would not be the way that you conduct yourself. But what they're showing us is that they don't care about anyone but themselves. Joe Biden is going to run a very narcissistic campaign akin to the way Hillary Clinton did, maybe worse than Hillary Clinton, because he's showing that whatever political astuteness he displayed during the 2016 election when he talked about how horrible Hillary Clinton's campaign was, well, that's all gone out the window. He's now choosing to try to basically resort to gutter politics to egg on Donald Trump to get a response because he thinks that this is one way he could generate press coverage. And it's a cheap tactic because it's difficult to generate press coverage if you just talk about policies. But what he's trying to do is overshadow other 2020 contenders by puffing up his own ego. So what we're seeing is narcissism by both of these individuals on display, and the overall conclusion is that neither of them should be in the White House come 2020. It should be someone new. Bernie Sanders, who doesn't give a fuck about his image, who doesn't care about how tough he looks, who cares about the American people. That's what we need. We don't need this pissing contest. It does nothing for the American people, and it really shows us where Joe Biden and Donald Trump's priorities lie.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.